When Shannon Clegg, 22, knocks off work as an advertising sales rep, she likes to party, stay out late. She likes to have sex.
How many sexual partners have you had?
Are you kidding?
Okay, it's a cheeky question, but she did volunteer to speak frankly about her sex life.
Well, I don't know whether to be half honest, because if people are going to double my number, if they think that women always say half, I don't want to say the whole number and for people to double that.
And what about uni lecturer Sarah Wright, 29? She's mum to 13-year-old Jake, but she's been happily single, mostly, for over a decade.
How many sexual partners have you had?
Ooh, and what's the magic number? Is it more than 20?
Apparently 20 is the average.
20 is the average?
In a lifetime.
In a lifetime. Yeah, no, I've gone past that.
Sarah and Shannon are among a group of women who've come forward to talk to us about sex, and in particular about the so-called promiscuity of New Zealand women.
My inclination is that there is probably some truth behind it, yeah.
Are New Zealand women really the most promiscuous in the world? That's the claim made by condom company Durex after what it calls a major international study involving 26,000 people online around the world. You can take what you like from that study. Durex obviously has a vested interest in promoting sex, and it wouldn't answer questions from Sunday about its methodology. Still, they stand by their results. Results which say New Zealand women have the numbers, an average of 20 sexual partners in a lifetime. That's 3 times the global average of just 7.
23-year-old Kiritapu Allen. Her grandmother might blush to know the number of partners she's had, both male and female.
A ballpark figure, probably around 30.
Are you embarrassed to admit that?
No, not at all. On public television? Nah, not even.
Joanne Dow, 29, has seen the world and now it's her specialty. She's doing a master's degree in international relations, but she still has time for the personal kind.
Over 25. Over 25. I think I stopped counting. Yeah.
So over 25, less than what?
Over 25, less than 50.
And what about Shannon, the outgoing 22-year-old sales rep? Actually, she's in a long-term relationship, has been for 4 years.
Okay, my whole number is 8 sexual partners in total.
We don't claim this group of educated, middle-class 20-somethings is a complete representation of the nation's feminine gender. Nor is there anything scientific about the discussion you're about to hear. These are simply women who responded to an invitation we posted at universities to shed some light on a subject that is usually taboo.
By promiscuous, do you mean that we've slept with, we have the highest number of sexual partners? It could also say something positive. It could also mean that we're empowered, that we, are claiming our own sexuality, or that we, like you say, that we feel comfortable in our own skin.
And comfortable in scenes like these. It's the end of the week, or perhaps just the end of the day. And this is what you'll see in pubs, clubs and bars up and down New Zealand. High heels and high hemlines, fragrant young friends, meeting and mingling, drinks. This is it, according to our panel, the setting for modern mating New Zealand style. Step number 1, the score.
Well, you go out, you have a few drinks, you see a hot guy across the board, he thinks you're hot as well, or hot whoever, and you score, and the next day either you're in a committed relationship from that point on, or you never see them again. Seriously, that's how it works.
The score, as you've probably guessed, has got nothing to do with points on the board and everything to do with sex.
Yeah, I think that we've got it quite opposite than the rest of the world out there. I think we definitely go to the bars, or we go to some kind of social engagement. We score if that's what's going on. Maybe get a number. maybe not. Maybe give out a false one, maybe give out the real one. Depends how good it was.
So is there a moment that arrives when you know that sex is going to happen that night?
Pretty much straight away, you know. If you're interacting with somebody, then there's almost that kind of air of expectation that it's either you're going to ditch them a couple of pubs later, or, it's going to happen. We're going to have sex tonight.
It's a non-conversation.
It's absolutely.
Eyes lock. Yeah. I've seen this one. See us.
Yeah.
This all happens, the women say, in the company of friends, men and women who get together, move together in packs.
I think that's really important too, that because we don't have this big dating thing, we have crews. We go out in big friendship groups of men and women.
I'm curious about this notion of a crew.
Most of it, you've met when you're quite, early 20s, or even from your teenage years from high school, and you're out and you're clubbing, and often I find as well you might meet a guy out and you'll be left behind, and so you're almost pressured into going home with this bloke.
Why?
Because, your friends are like, oh, she's in, she's sweet, lucky her, and they're off to the next bar to try and find one themselves.
The way to get to intimately know anyone, or to have that spiritual connection with somebody beyond, say, mates within your crew, is to have sex with them.
So the sex is the first thing that happens?
Yes. And hey, if you've got it out of the way the first night, oh God, they were crap, at least you're not going to get into something really awful down the track, where you've really got to know them, and then you sleep with them and it's awful.
Just as this conversation's unfolding, I can see this being framed as a very negative thing. Oh man, New Zealand women just like to go out there and shake their shit and go home, But for me, I don't see it as that. And particularly in the last couple of decades, there has been a shift. It's been a cultural shift, and we're a part of that.
Perhaps not since the feminist wave of the 60s and 70s have young women been so sexually forthright. The arrival of the contraceptive pill, for many and for the first time, promised sex without consequences. Then came the morning after pill.
Obviously, one is reluctant to allow such an accident to proceed to an unplanned pregnancy when there is a method of intervention available.
At first, only gays and IV drug users were being killed by AIDS. But now we know every one of us could be devastated by it.
The terror of AIDS in the 80s and early 90s apparently quelled our sexual urges.
That in 3 years, nearly 2,000 of us will be dead.
But with casual sex now splashed through the media,
it's just casual sex. Ta-da!
A new test has been set for sexual equality.
Quite free about it, like different people learning from different people as well, because it takes a lot to get to know your own body, and every person that you're with kind of increases that knowledge, and you get to enjoy it so much more. So almost more the better.
It seems to have shifted from 10 years ago. Perhaps you were seen as, or women were seen as pretty, and now it's shifted towards hot, and hot has an immense sexual connotation towards it.
Let's not hide the fact that we are sexual beings, women get horny.
Do you think that other groups of people are seeing it as a positive kind of empowering thing?
I think for myself, I feel like there's so much silence towards this whole kind of concept. So this conversation isn't had openly amongst all the boys and all the girls. This is definitely with the couple of the girlfriends, like, yeah, man, and I think that this is why something like this can be used in a positive light.
So, what about the guys? If New Zealand women are becoming more promiscuous or having more sexual partners, the men must be having more sexual partners as well. Do they think less of a woman that they see out night clubbing who's willing to take them home straight away, or do they see it as an empowering experience for the woman as well? And I just wonder what men would have to say.
Coming up after the break, what do the men say?
I suppose it depends how much drink you can buy them and how drunk they get, like some women obviously lose their inhibitions when they're more drunk.
What's the driving force behind the modern mating game?
How do people get together in New Zealand? Usually through a drunken score.
That's after the break.